I think the Georgia Bulldogs just extended their lead over these top prospects after being in Athens this past weekend for an official visit. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Got a lot of notes, a lot of scoop, a lot of details on some major Georgia targets. Of course, you can read all of this and more over on dawgpost.com. That's where the five-star Georgia fans are. That's where all the scoop is. But I definitely want to come on to the YouTube for our amazing YouTube audience and break down some prospects that I think are leaning Georgia's way this second. Now, there's still a lot of summer left, a lot of visits to be taken, but I do think that heading into this weekend, Georgia felt really good about a lot of these prospects who just took their official visits, but I think Georgia extended their lead with several of these guys. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single name because I want y'all to go over to Dawg Post, of course, but I do want to share some names and break down what I'm hearing after a really, really big weekend. Now, the first guy I want to talk about is one of my favorite players in the state of Georgia, and that's Dandridge Jr. He plays at Cambridge, not too far from me, but he's coming off an outstanding junior season, a breakout junior season for the Bears where he caught 58 passes, 1,443 yards, and 14 touchdowns. He's an easy four-star. He's shifty. He's elusive. He's electric with the football. He can make big plays, a big catch in traffic over a defensive back, or he can take a screen, a short pass, give you some wiggle, a little shake and bake, and just take off down the field. He runs extremely well. The film is terrific, and his recruitment has kind of blown up. Started in the winter, but he is quickly becoming one of the fastest rising wide receivers, not only in Georgia, but across the South. Here's what he had to say about his Georgia visit this weekend. He said, "My biggest takeaways were that I am a top priority for the Dogs. What they can offer isn't going to be easy, and that they push their players like no other." I mean, this kid loves to compete. He's out there. He works hard. He knows that Georgia does the same. He went and saw a spring practice, absolutely loved the intensity of it, and he said that multiple times. He also said some of the biggest moments were just the one-on-one talks with the coaches, Coach Coley, Coach Bobo, Coach Smart. What makes Georgia special is all the people that are around you. The amount of people that only want the best for you and to help you. That's what makes it special. So, one of the themes that we've seen, during these official visits, some in May and some this past weekend, were the brotherhood. Talking about the brotherhood, how special the Georgia program is. It's not just about football. It's about building character, building men. And I know some people are going to laugh at that. I get it, but that is what the staff is trying to tell these players. Hey, come here. It is a true brotherhood. You play together. You play for your teammate. You play for pride. You play for your school, the program. And if you do that, you do things successfully, you're going to make millions of dollars at the next level. And that's what the message was to Dandridge. I thought Georgia was the team to beat going into this weekend. I feel even better about Georgia's chances with him. They already have 3 wide receivers on the board. They've got to really hold on to 2 of them. I think Ryan Mosley, the most recent commit, pretty locked in. Brady Marchese, I think, took an official visit to Michigan. I need to confirm that with him. And Vance Spafford out of California is the guy they need to hold on to. So still some wide receivers out there to know. Dandridge is absolutely one of them. Another guy that I think Georgia leads more for now than they did this past weekend is Caden Prothro. The 4-star tight end, 5-star tight end, whatever outlet you look at, either way, he's a borderline 5-star. I'm going to talk about him like he's a 5-star. He is a 3-time state champion, 6'6", 220, multi-sport standout, plays the tight end position like a wide receiver. He's lean, he's athletic, runs like a deer after the catch. I mean, good luck tackling this dude. I could barely do it at my peak, but I probably could. I was a decent athlete back in the day. We're not going to talk about that, though. Reliving my glory days. Doesn't matter. Caden Prothro is a dog. He hauled in 56 passes for 1,203 yards, 22 touchdowns in 15 games, led them to a 3rd consecutive state title. Now, Mark Bowman committed to USC, which took me a little bit by surprise. I don't think that one's completely over, by the way. I think Georgia still has a real chance to flip him and sign him when it's all said and done. I think that was a little surprising on my end, but I don't think that recruitment is over. If you think Todd Harley's just going to sit on his hands and say, missed out on Mark Bowman, that's too bad. Have fun out there. We're going to stop recruiting you. No, that's not how it works. They're going to push hard for Mark Bowman, and I expect him to still be in Athens for an official visit later this month. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make that visit. So he's still on the board to me. He's publicly committed to Southern Cal, and he's going to say all the right things, but I'm not counting Georgia out. So I say that to say that Caden Prothro is still a top priority, right? Mark Bowman is too. Caden Prothro is a guy Todd Hartley's going to party in the streets if he lands Caden Prothro, and I think he's got a really good chance to do that. However, he did leave Athens uncommitted. I thought there might be a chance he pulls the trigger, which would have been a massive, massive move. But he still has official visits lined up. He's going to Alabama June 6th. That's one to keep an eye on. He's going to Auburn June 10th, then Florida, then Texas. So he's still going about the process, doing things the right way, making sure he makes the best decision for him. So he's giving these schools still a big-time look. So while I do think they have the lead right now for him, they got to hold on to it and still find a way to land his commitment and signing when it's all said and done. It's all about December. Commitments are great, right, in the summertime and in May and early on, but you got to get them in December when it counts. But I do think that Georgia extended their lead with Caden Prothro. We'll see what happens with these other official visits. Things can change. As you know, things can change and change quickly. But I think Georgia's done a tremendous job recruiting Caden Prothro, the best in-state tight end in Georgia for this class and one of the best across the country. Another guy, top Georgia target that I thought might pull the trigger this weekend was Kamari Brooks. Big deal. I mean, they had the many defensive starters out there, guys on offense, taking pictures with him during this official visit. This is a team effort. They are trying to make sure that he feels part of the team. Now, he's a local kid, North Oconee, big-time pass rusher. Doesn't look like Leonard Floyd or Adam Anderson out there. He's not 6'5", 6'6", but he's 6'3", 220. But he plays really well. He's fundamentally sound. He plays with good leverage. He's disruptive. He's active. He sheds blocks with ease, and the dude hunts. He makes play after play in the backfield, just creates chaos consistently. He's a quarterback's worst nightmare. He had 131 tackles last season, 17 tackles for a loss, 13 sacks, 3 pass breakups, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, 24 quarterback hurries. I mean, the guy was outstanding last year, and he is a major target. He's one of the best pass rushers, not only in Georgia, but across the South. And I think Georgia did an outstanding job this weekend. That's what I'm hearing behind the scenes. I thought Georgia led Alabama going into this. I think Georgia has a nice little lead, but he still has an official visit to Alabama lined up. I thought it was in my notes. Maybe it's this upcoming weekend. Maybe it's in a couple weeks, but it doesn't matter. I do think he will now end up still taking that Alabama official. It's going to come down to those two from everything I've been reporting, and still think the latest is it's still Georgia, Alabama. This would be a big loss. This would be a tough loss for the Dogs to let this kid at Bogart? Is it Bogart? That's where North Oconee is. Watkinsville? One of the two. Right outside of Athens. An Athens area kid end up in Tuscaloosa. That'd be a tough pill to swallow for the Georgia staff. I think they're going to land him in the end, and I think they did a great job with him this past weekend. I still think Georgia leads there. Another in-state guy to know. Hope to make a video of out-of-state guys when I can get in touch with them. Playing a little phone tag with some of them. There's no reason, to play phone tag with Coach DeBray, right? They should be answering the phone immediately. So I'm not going to hold it against them, maybe just a little bit, but I should hear from them soon. I'll have an update on those type of guys. If not, I'll have it on Dawg Post. But Payton Dyer is another in-state guy to know. He's a defensive back out of Duluth, 6'1", 190, physically gifted. He's a tough cornerback. Here's what he had to say about his Georgia official visit. He said, one thing that makes Georgia a special program is their brotherhood, right? Going back to that brotherhood stuff, and a serious culture that they've accumulated and grown for a long time. Just talking about consistency. Georgia's always good. Georgia's always going to be good, right? I know the haters are going to hate that, but it is. This program is built to, sustain success over time, right? They're not going to win a national championship every year, as we've seen, right? But they're going to be in the race. They're going to be competing for SEC titles and in the playoffs, possibly competing for more national titles sooner than later. These kids know that. And these in-state kids who are being, heavily pushed by the in-state mighty Georgia Bulldogs, it's tough for them to look the other way. Some kids do it, but Payton Dyer is a guy that I think has been climbing Georgia's board throughout the spring and into the summer. decommitted to South Carolina for a reason. I think he's got a big eye on Georgia, and I think the Dogs are the team to beat for him. He's the number 28 cornerback prospect, 294 overall. So a top 300 kid. So he doesn't have 5 stars next to his name. That's okay. He is a solid 4-star, makes a lot of plays, tackles well, right? He brings some intensity and physicality to the cornerback spot that they love, and he's got size, and he's got really good instincts and coverage. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. I think Georgia leads for him as well. Of course, we've got more over on dawgpost.com, so make sure you're checking that out. I hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you over on the website.